What's up, guys? This is Brian Mounts again, coming to you from the Turf Mechanic YouTube channel. I also run turfmechanic.com. On turfmechanic.com, I've got a very extensive video where I compare every one of the strongest battery-powered lawnmowers on the market this year. This is 2020 as I'm recording this. These are two of the strongest that I feature in that list. Feel free to browse my channel. You can find that big video when it comes out. It's going to come out in the next couple days or so. You're probably watching this after I've recorded it, so it's probably already there. You can also take a look at the website to see that. But if, for instance, you're particularly interested in one of these two mowers, then that's what this video is about. Right now, I have owned, this is the Yard Force 120 volt battery powered mower. It's got a 22-inch deck. This is the Toro 60 volt recycler, also a 22-inch deck. This mower, I believe, is a newer model. Like, it's newer than this one. The Yard Force has been out for a couple years. I want to say it came out somewhere in 2018. Don't quote me on that. The Toro 60 volt recycler is much newer. It is, however, based on the actual Toro recycler gas powered mower decks. So if you hold this in your hand and caress it, you're going to find that it feels a lot like a regular conventional lawnmower because it really is based on the frame of one. This Yard Force really is awful similar to this. This is a steel deck. Both of these are very heavy. In terms of battery mowers, these are about the heaviest battery mowers that I have used. There might be something out there heavier, but I don't know what it is. Both of these guys are pretty meaty machines. They both have self-propelled, which offset the weight. Despite the fact that I call them heavy, they are much lighter than conventional gas-powered lawnmowers. So there is that. But when you think about going to a battery powered mower, you usually think, well, it's going to be a lot quieter and a lot lighter. Well, these are quieter and lighter, but for battery mowers, they're pretty loud and they're pretty heavy. You're going to want to use the self-propelled. Both of these have, let's just get right into it. Both of these have self-propelled options. This has the kind of the standard bar self-propelled, so you got the blade engage and then the self-propelled bar. Toro has made their personal pace famous, so really all you're doing is you're just kind of leaning into it and the self-propelled takes off. Now, lots of people love the Toro personal pace system. Toro has a screaming red hot reputation in the industry. For battery powered mowers, this is pretty good, and it is the only one that I have. I think there is another one out from Snapper with kind of this lean against it option, but all of them have like this bar, which, yeah, you have to pull the bar. This you don't have to. It seems easier. But what you gain with the bar is the ability to use the lawnmower without using self-propelled. Now, let me tell you why that's important. So, if you've got just a big rectangle, yeah, it's great to just lean in and then the mower goes and you get to the end, you turn it, you lean in and it just goes. But if you've got like a weird area where you kind of need to kind of go back and forth to kind of nose the front end up against something. For me, I've got a tree with some rock beds over there. I've got this play structure here with bars, and I have to go back and forth. I've got other obstacles over there, another tree. I've got I've got obstacles, and I want to be able to go back and forth. Well, with this, you have to use the self-propelled all the time. It's either self-propelled or nothing, which for my yard doesn't work. This works. If I want to do a long stretch, then I'll use the self-propelled bar. But once I get into the areas where I really don't want self-propelled, I can let go of the bar and just move it around at will, and it works just fine. This, for my yard, isn't the best option, and I'm sure there's going to be people out there watching this video that are going to agree with that assessment. These are great for open yards. Let's call it like that. For my yard, this is not an open yard. This is a heavily used area for my kids, for animals who I haven't actually featured in any of these videos yet. But there's always stuff in this yard. Every time I have to mow, I have to clean the yard up. There's always stuff going on here. This is not the right one for me. Now, self-propelled. Getting away from the bar and how it's activated, both of these have different speeds. The speed goes based on how much you lean into it. This one goes based on the lever. If you put it down in the fastest position, it's still way, way, way slower than this one. So again, this one is great for big open yards, just big rectangles, because you're going to be able to get through it faster. The self-propelled on this goes way faster than this one. In the fastest setting, this is one of the slowest self-propelled mowers that I've tested. I don't have a way of testing the speed, like the miles per hour, but man, you can feel it when you got it there. You just feel like you're like, man, I wish I could get this thing to go faster. And of course you can by letting go of the self-propelled and just pushing it faster. But then what's the point of getting it self-propelled? Another interesting thing about these, both of these are advertised as 22-inch decks. This is going to physically move faster across your yard, but it's also going to cut a bigger swath of grass. Even though they're both 22-inch decks, the actual blade underneath, if you yank the thing off and compare it side by side with this one, the blade is 7/8 of an inch wider, almost a full inch wider. So despite the fact that this is a 22-inch deck and that's a 22-inch deck, the blade itself is almost a full inch wider than that. So you're going to travel faster using the self-propelled and cut a slightly wider path with every pass. Now, I think you're also going to go faster with this because of the batteries. So you can see a trend here. This is all about speed here, in my opinion. This is the battery that I have with it. This is a 6 amp hour battery. It's only a 60 volt compared to the 120 volt yard force batteries, but there's only one of them. And this is 6 amp hour. They also have a 7.5 amp hour battery. So if I had the 7.5 amp hour, would just go right in here, boom, and power this mower for a good long time. This, however, the yard force offers you a dual slot. So you put in one right there, but they're only 2.5 amp hours combined. And of course you run out of one and then you go to the other one. Combined, that's only 5. I bring that up to say that although amp hours is not exactly battery length, it's really closely correlated. You're going to be able to use this mower almost every time on one battery and go longer than this mower using 2.5s. Like I could mow for a while, discharge both of these batteries and still be running this one, especially if I had the 7.5 amp hour on that one. And then you got to think, well, what about price? If you get this Toro with the big 7.5, you're still most likely spending less than this. So now I like this one because the self-propelled is conventional. But it's pretty expensive and there's a few things I don't like about it. The cutting width is not that 22 inch like it's advertised on the box. It's 20.25 is the blade. This is 21 5/8 blade. So I like the fact that this goes faster. I like that the battery's going to go further and longer. I wish I had the option of running this without the personal pace. Although I use the personal pace most of the time, I wish I could turn it off. I just do. But it's not the case. But the price is better. So there's that. Let's get to just a couple of the, I don't know, the creature comforts, let's say. Folding up. As you notice, this won't fold in the middle. You've got this little lever here, lever there, and then it folds down. You lock them in place. Lock that one in place too. Boy, that's tight. I don't remember that being so tight the last time I used it. That'll store up. You can see I've used this. This is similar. Also doesn't fold in the middle. But that will do that. It'll do the same storage. This one looks clean. I've used it more than that one, which is interesting. And I've never scraped it clean. I don't even know what to say about that. But anyway, they fold well. Your front wheel on the Toro, doesn't really spin all that great. Look at that. The wheels are so much better on this. They're bigger. I mean, that thing's still spinning. The blade, however, is not as good. You're not gonna be able to see this on the video, but this blade is flexible, which is crazy because this is a really high-end expensive mower. Now, I have seen blades that are more flexible than this. If you take a look at some of my videos in the Earthwise dual 40 volt, you'll hear my opinions on that. I think this is shoddy. You've got this plastic thing here, whereas everything here is steel, man. This is like hardcore. This barely moves when I tug on it. Everything here is steel. The I don't know, whatever that is there in the middle, it's attached to steel. This there's so much plastic here, and the blade moves. I just don't like that. For the amount I spent, I bought this for $800 and I want to say about $30, and I can't believe that that is like that. This is hardcore. This is really sturdy. I believe, even though both of these are super duper heavy and robust machines, I think this is just better made. I just do. Anyway, what else do I gotta say? The here's another really cool thing about Toro. This is unique to Toro as far as I know, but Toro's got this lever here. When you do that, what does it do? It opens the chute there. I can't think of words. It opens the bagger chute. It's the mulch plug. There you go. It's the mulch plug. So this opens the mulch plug so that clippings will fly into the bag. Now, I don't bag hardly ever, so you might not ever see a bag in any of my videos. But anyway, I keep it up, and that's the mulch plug. That's mulch right there. The plug is closed. It's a little trap door in the back. Basically, this mulch plug is a piece that doesn't come off. Every other mower has a piece that comes off. You pull that up, and there's just a full-on plug there. And now I got grass clippings all over my yard. I mean, that's just another like oddball thing about these that I don't like. And I'm surprised that Toro is like the only manufacturer out there that's put that little trap door on. It's like they've solved a problem that is so obvious. Nobody wants to solve it other than them. Of course, these have their side discharge. You know, I've got the little chutes for that in the garage. Another one of those like things that you don't use very often. Some people probably do use them very often, but I don't. They can go on pretty easy. The Toro, you've got a clean out here. That's another one of those features that the occasional person is going to use a lot, but I don't. Most people probably don't use that. You saw the underside of this. I've used this a bunch of times and it's still pretty clean under there. So maybe don't mulch wet grass. I don't know why it's so clean. Maybe it's got a clear coating on it. I've got some stuff in the garage that I spray under to clean them and keep them protected, but I never applied it to this one. That's surprising how clean that is. Anyway, I do love that both of these things are strong. I mean, you're probably watching this video because you're like, these are two of the high-end mowers. They're very strong. Which one should I get? So they're both really strong. The thing is, this is going to cut better. It's got a stronger blade. It's got a wider blade. The RPMs, although they're not published, are probably in about that 2,800 RPM, maybe 2,900 RPM range. Most battery mowers are around 28, but this feels, I don't know, you just feel it. When you use a lot of different mowers, you kind of feel it. It's not published what their rate is. This, the Yard Force runs 3,000. What I do like about it is that it feels like it's running near full potential the whole time you're using it, which means it's cutting great. The blade could be better. I wish the blade was better, but it is cutting great because that RPM is spinning at a really high rate. This, however, is spinning at a very good high rate too, but that blade is stronger and the blade is wider, which means a wider blade spinning at the same RPM is going to have a faster tip speed. So that tip, the first tip of the blade that hits the grass as you roll over it, is literally traveling faster than this one. And it is going to cut it very, very well, especially if you take the time to have a sharp blade. So if you are buying one of these things, I'm sure you are interested in having a clean cut. I think you're going to get a cleaner cut with this. Having said that, I think you're going to get a pretty good cut with this. It's just not going to mulch as well. And it's not going to last as long, and you're going to spend a little bit more on it. I think between these two, I think this Toro really is the better buy. However, for my yard, I still wouldn't buy this for my yard. I have too many areas in my yard where I need to go back and forth and back and forth. And this is just too annoying for that. For me, if I had a big rectangle yard with no obstacles in it, then yeah, this is probably going to work out just like it is for everybody else out there. Keep that under consideration. Between these two mowers though, I think this is the better deal. You're going to pay less for it. I think you're going to cover more ground. You're going to cut the grass faster. Your battery's going to last probably a little bit longer. You're not going to have any problems whatsoever with power because it is it's fully powered. This seems more powerful because of the big 120 stamped on the side of it, but it's just not the same. I posted a video about a week ago comparing this to an 80 volt Greenworks Pro, and in that video I push it through a really thick patch of weeds, really tall weeds, and this got through it, but it labored, and the Greenworks Pro just went straight through it like nothing. This is comparable to the Greenworks. It's going to go through the toughest stuff, just like you would expect a really expensive high-end mower to do. It's not a knock on Yard Force, but I would go for that one. Anyway, that's my opinion. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Take a look at the archives. I've got comparisons on lots of mowers, more than just about anyone out there. I own them. I bought them with my own with my own money, and I've used them on my own property. Take a look at those. Google turf mechanic, like turf mechanic, strongest battery mowers. You'll find a mega post there where I go into extreme detail on all of these big strong guys. Here's my cat. There'll also be a link down below, so you can find that, but it does help to Google it. So do that for me. Hit the subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.